Are you ready to make ChatGPT sound just like you? Whether you're using it for personal branding or content creation or just for fun, having ChatGPT use your voice makes all the difference in the world. My name is Larry Roberts, and in this video, I'm going to give you my top 10 tips on making ChatGPT sound just like you. Whether it's establishing your voice and tone or giving ChatGPT regular feedback, these tips are going to make sure that your voice and ChatGPT are a perfect match. Are you ready to dive in? Let's go. Let's start with tip number one, defining your voice and tone. Now, this is all about finding the personality that's in your writing style. Are you somebody that's friendly and outgoing? Or are you more reserved and maybe professional in your tone? Or maybe you're on the opposite end and you're very bubbly and energetic in your writing style. I'm going to lean towards you're probably a combination of all the above. Take some time and write down these characteristics and share them with ChatGPT. The more information ChatGPT has, the easier it is for it to mirror your own unique writing style. Now, this sounds like a super easy step, but it's also very, very important, so don't skip it. Tip number two, provide ChatGPT with detailed examples of your writing style. Think about your emails or your social media posts or even your blog posts. The key here isn't necessarily quantity, but it's comprehensiveness. So maybe you give ChatGPT a professional email and a casual social media post or an engaging, lengthy blog post. Again, it's not necessarily quantity here, but it's about different styles that you use in different situations. The more information you can give ChatGPT, the better it'll do at mimicking each of these styles in each of those situations. Tip number three, use a specific vocabulary. Now, we all have our favorite words and phrases. What are yours? Take the time to make a list of those and give that list to ChatGPT. This can be anything from industry jargon to your favorite catchphrases. Remember, the more ChatGPT knows specifically about you, the better it's going to incorporate your voice into its responses. If you use the term game changer every day, be sure to include that on the list. Making AI sound just like you isn't that hard, but vocabulary plays a big part. Tip number four, set clear structure preferences. How do you like your content to look? Do you prefer bullet points for a quick, easy read? Or do you like summaries at the top or the bottom of the content? Or maybe you like step-by-step detailed instructions. Whatever it may be sure you let ChatGPT know. This will allow the AI to structure its responses in a way that lines up with your style. In communication, structure matters. And in ChatGPT, guess what? Structure matters. Tip number five, highlight your humor style. If you use a lot of humor in your writing, then this tip is specifically for you. What types of humor do you use in your writing style? Is it playful and jovial? Is it dry and sarcastic? Or maybe it's witty and clever. Whatever that style is, be sure to provide examples of it to ChatGPT. Now, we got to keep in mind that AI still struggles when it comes to humor. But with some do's and don'ts and some proper guidelines, it can learn how to incorporate it within the context you provide. Remember, the goal here is to make AI sound just like you, and your sense of humor is part of your style. Tip number six, indicate your pacing preference. Pacing refers to how quickly or how slowly you like to deliver information. Do you like to jump in there and get right to the point, or do you like to build up gradually? Whatever your preference is, tell ChatGPT. Some people may want to give a high-level overview before jumping into the details, while others, they may want to dive headfirst into the topic. Pacing is absolutely critical to making sure that your audience is engaged and they hear your message. Timing is everything, right? Well, it's the same thing with ChatGPT. Tip number seven, emphasize your core values and principles. What drives your communication style? Are you more data-driven and concise, or are you more empathetic and value-driven? Take the time to list out your core values and make sure ChatGPT knows what they are. For example, if you want to back up something you say with data, make sure that ChatGPT knows. Or if you value more transparency and honesty, emphasize that to ChatGPT so that it can respond accordingly in its responses. Remember, your core values and principles are the root of your communication style, and this will allow ChatGPT to keep that in mind. Tip number 8, define your communication style. Do you have more of a conversational style to your writing, like you're chatting with a friend? Or maybe you like to have a more storytelling based approach where you really engage your audience. Or maybe it's more formal and instructional, like you're giving directions on how to accomplish a task. Whatever your communication style may be sure you let ChatGPT know what it is. This will allow the AI to tailor its responses to your natural communication style. Your communication style is a key part to your voice, so make sure you don't skip this step. Tip number 9, outlining the common themes and topics that you like to discuss. Think about what you're most passionate about and what you really enjoy writing about. Is it personal branding, or maybe it's digital marketing, or maybe it's your latest podcast episode? Whatever it is, make a list of these and let ChatGPT know what they are. This will allow the AI to stay true to the alignment of your expertise and your passions. Remember, keeping the focus on your most common topics will allow ChatGPT to remain true to your voice. Tip number 10, and this one's a big one. Provide regular feedback to ChatGPT. Take a look at some of the responses you get and ask yourself what worked here and what didn't necessarily work here. Was the pacing too fast, or maybe it was too far off topic? Make note of that and give that feedback to ChatGPT. This feedback will allow the AI to more accurately adapt to your style over time. Now, you got to remember, this is a continuous process. So the more feedback you give it, the better it will be at mimicking your voice. And there you have it. Those are my top 10 tips for making ChatGPT sound just like you. By defining your voice, providing examples, using a specific vocabulary, and giving regular feedback, you'll make sure that AI sounds just like you. Now, remember, it's all about consistency and clarity. So keep that feedback coming. I hope these tips help you create more engaging and authentic content with ChatGPT. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay true to your voice.